think we're at a point in Asheville where people's forgot about Asheville. It's stagnant. Everything is stopped.
Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina.
There were people out everywhere looking for their loved ones, and they were dead bodies. This happened on September 27th. Well, for us, today is still September 27th.
We have not received any help from the government.
Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we were watching fires still tragically burn without even a token of defense.
When I got to my house, there was no water. The fire department wasn't pre-deployed. Vehicles were abandoned by drivers who fled for their lives.
The devastation is apocalyptic.
If we can't get FEMA help, then will you guys help us? Will you step up and be our fellow citizen? Will you step up and be our neighbor and help us get our community back?
Mr. President, I just wanted to say Paradise is coming back because of the help that you gave us. We want to help our brothers and sisters here in LA to come back too, and I know that's what you're going to do.
Mr. President, thank you for your loyal support to our military, our police officers, and especially our firefighters.
We're going to help these people, get them back on their feet, and recreate these amazing communities.
People were so devastated, but this is our president. Thank you, President. You're so much.
Each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Hey there, patriots. Hey there, patriots. I did it again. I'm just about getting weepy every time I think about President Trump is our president. He's our president. He is our president. It took forever. I just couldn't even imagine it was going to be 4 years, and here we are finally, and he's our president. And he's going to do more than what I think that we can really even grapple with. We could even imagine. So just buckle up. I'm Melissa, Red Pill the World. I hope you guys are having a great day. We're going to have a great time talking about the Trump effect. It's everywhere. And so I want to also talk about what happened this past week within the second week of the golden age. I'm going to show you some of my favorite clips from Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. We're also going to talk about the tragedy of the airline flight and then what President Trump is doing about it. And so my thoughts on that. And we're going to talk about lots of the other great things that happened this week. If you're new here, definitely check out the website freedomforce.live. LIVE. I have tons of videos about how this is biblical. This is the great day we've been waiting for all of our lives, because the Bible promises that the righteous will rule the earth. The meek will inherit the earth. Meek means those who love the Lord, who love humanity, who love doing what's right. They will inherit the earth, and that is what we are seeing, and that the evildoers will be cast out. I have tons of videos over there for you to definitely check into it, because it's really, really, really good news. We're not escaping earth. We're taking the kingdom by force. That's why we have the name Freedom Force Battalion. Everybody go ahead, give me the like, because you know I'm going to get here and go barreling through all this great information, and I will not remember. I know I won't, and I know Songbird reminds everyone. Thank you, Songbird, for all your help. Don't forget to share all of our information. I have this wonderful page on freedomforce.live/end times, one word, end times, and you can help people to understand the wonderful truth and come out of the matrix of lies on that. And thank you for sharing, because that really helps everyone to see the great news. Now, this is Kash Patel, one of the favorites. I could show you all, 3 or 4 hours of his testimony, of his confirmation hearing. But the first thing most important thing I think he said was exposing what happened on January 6th. This is gigantic. I really am so glad, because a lot of people who have not heard this perspective maybe heard it for the first time with this. And I shared this over on the social media. Again, when you go to freedomforce.live, go straight down here to the links, and you will see, social, and you will see the links to my social media. And I have wonderful team Melly, who goes and helps to get these things all over on the different social media. And so you can share that with your friends, share in all those locations. So let's hear what Kash Patel had to say. Amazing. If you remember, we were told on the board in 2018, I think it was, that Kashyap Patel, a name to remember. Right? But there's nothing to 17 at all.
What are you doing on that day?
On that day specifically, responding to preparing to mobilize and deploy the National Guard once we got the lawful request from the local governing authority, which was the mayor of D.C. and the Speaker of the House.
Now, how many days in advance were you working to prepare the Department of Defense to help secure the Capitol on January 6th?
Days in advance, Senator. We were in the Oval Office on an unrelated national security matter with the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and myself. And the President authorized up to 20,000 plus National Guardsmen and women to secure any security measures necessary related to the Capitol. So we were moving to the fullest extent of the law before the requisite request came from a local governing authority days ahead of time.
And while you were Chief of Staff at DOD, how many times did DOD approach Capitol Police and ask if they needed National Guard assistance?
I believe those letters are well documented, numerous instances, and in numerous of those instances, those requests were shut down.
Now, am I correct that the Capitol Sergeant at Arms said assistance was unnecessary?
That's correct, Senator.
Who did the Sergeant at Arms report to?
The Speaker of the House.
That would have been Nancy Pelosi at the time. Is that correct?
Yes, Senator.
And would that also be Chuck Schumer, then the Senate Majority Leader?
The Sergeant at Arms, yes, Senator, reports up there.
Did Mayor Bowser, the Democrat elected mayor in D.C., either request or allow National Guard assistance?
She put in writing on the days leading up to January 6th a declination for National Guard additional support. And that letter is available publicly to the world.
So, and just to speak English for folks at home, a declination meant she said no, don't send National Guard. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a simple question, because from the questioning from my Democrat colleagues, they might think otherwise. Do you condemn violence against law enforcement?
All of it.
Of course. Of course he does. Of course he does. Don't anyone believe any of the lies from the fake news? But yeah, declination means they decline to have the National Guard. So why? The question is, why would they do such a thing? Except for the fact that it was a Fedsurrection, that patriots like myself were going there to protest a fraudulent election. And they wanted to use this to slam patriots, to lie about patriots. And sure they have for the past 4 years. And it is high time for the truth to come out. How many times have I said, we have to have the truth come out about January 6th? So this was amazing. This is one of the reasons they do not want Kash Patel as the FBI director, because this will expose this crime as well as so many more. So how the intel community has been used against the American people and for the deep state, for these ones. So yay, who loves me some Kash Patel? Thank you so much, Kash Patel, for being a good man, being a true patriot, and being, so wise, so great at communicating. We just thank you, Lord, for people like Kash Patel who know the right way to express these things, because I'm telling you, there were a million gotcha moments, but he went right through and they didn't lay a hand on him, not a glove. So very exciting. Now here's where he talks about, maybe this is my favorite one. They're all my favorite. This is where he was asked about the Epstein files. Check this out.
Breaking up these trafficking rings is important to President Trump. So will you work with me on this issue so we know who worked with Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings? This issue so we know who worked with Jeffrey Epstein in building these sex trafficking rings.
Absolutely, Senator. Child sex trafficking has no place in the United States of America, and I will do everything, if confirmed as FBI director, to make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened in the past and how we are going to countermand missing children and exploited children going forward.
And I know that
Thank you, Lord. Oh, can you the children are already being rescued. Tom Homan is working on that. But to imagine that this truth will come out, that they were the Biden administration was the biggest trafficking organization in all of history. People need to understand that. And so this is, again, why they're going to fight to keep Kash Patel from being confirmed. But I do not believe they'll be able to stop him. And everyone's calling for us to man the ramparts, as Bannon says, to contact these ones, in not only your congressman, but the ones in these committees, to get Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. out of committee and on to the vote, so that we can go ahead and get these people in place. So that's one of the things. Put that on your to-do list for this week, because this has got to come out. This whole Epstein thing, how they've used that, and really it's Mossad, right? That really is behind that, in order to control political leaders, CEOs, that type of thing. And then it all begins to make sense. Why they do the things that they do is because they are highly controlled. All right, so that's got to come out. Now, this is a clip from Tulsi Gabbard where she exposed what happened with the regime change operation that Obama set up. This was another gigantic red pill that she shared. Amazing. So excited about Tulsi Gabbard, and that they may be more afraid of Tulsi Gabbard than even they are of Kash Patel. Check this out.
As someone who enlisted in the military specifically because of Al-Qaeda's terrorist attack on 9/11, and committing myself and my life to doing what I could to defeat these terrorists, it was shocking and a betrayal to me and every person who was killed on 9/11, their families and my brothers and sisters in uniform, when as a member of Congress, I learned about President Obama's dual programs that he had begun really to overthrow the regime of Syria, and being willing to, through the CIA's Timber Sycamore program that has now been made public, of working with and arming and equipping Al-Qaeda in an effort to overthrow that regime, starting yet another regime change war in the Middle East. DOD Train and Equip program, again, begun under President Obama, is widely been known, looked at, and studied, that ultimately resulted in over $500 million being used to train who they called moderate rebels, but were actually fighters working with and aligned with Al-Qaeda's affiliate on the ground in Syria, all to move forward with their regime change, and not acknowledging what was obvious at the time and what has unfortunately borne true, which was that a regime change war in Syria, much like the regime change wars in Iraq, the toppling of Gaddafi and Mubarak, while these are all dictators, would likely result in the rise of Islamist extremists like Al-Qaeda taking power. I shed no tears for the fall of the Assad regime, but today we have an Islamist extremist who is now in charge of Syria, as I said, who danced on the streets to celebrate the 9/11 attack, who ruled over Idlib with an Islamist extremist governance, and who has already begun to persecute and kill and arrest religious minorities like Christians in Syria.
I understand
why that should be.
Yes, there you go. Can you tell? She knows her stuff. She knows what they did, and she's not afraid to say it. And she knows how to dismantle this, how to expose it and to remove it. This is why President Trump selected her. Now, don't forget, a lot of times she sounded like a Republican, but she was a Democrat until just recently. So she left the Democrat Party. And I read a post that I think Elon had shared. He was saying that what this movement is about, it's not about Democrat or Republican. It's about the best from both parties who are truly MAGA, really want to make America great again. And so if they come against her, if these Democrats do, then that tells you right there that they are not for America. Of course, we already know that. But yeah, so of course, this was a huge exposure of Obama too, and that the whole thing that they were doing in the Middle East was to cause all this upheaval so that they could take over. We already know, and you guys remember, as we've shared from the book End Times and 1,000 Years of Peace, which is the decode of the book of Revelation. There's a let me see if I can get it to refresh. I don't know why it won't. It's not showing up. The white horse. Remember, there's four horsemen. There's the white horse, the red horse, the black horse, and the green horse. The white horse is the puppet leaders, and that's what they try to do. Is they try to put their person in so that they can control the government. And so they might have they might have a Republican, they might have a Democrat, or whatever, the different ones that run for political office, and they make sure that they control both of them, so that whoever's in that position, or they do a regime change and they install their puppet leader, and so that they can take all the assets from the country and basically lock down the people so that they have no rights and control the elections from then on. Yes, I don't know why this is not cooperative. Oh, there it is. All right, so this is the book, End Times and 1,000 Years of Peace. Actually, I have the audiobook on here too. If you haven't listened to that, go check that out, the audiobook. But we talk about the four horsemen. And a lot of people misunderstand what the four horsemen is about, but it's about how they have taken over the world, basically. Basically, they've taken over all the governments of the world, and how they've taken over, ruled by war, ruled by controlling the commerce and the currency, and ruled by controlling the big pharma. Yeah, so that's really the truth about the four horsemen. Anyway, go into more of that in the book, but you can check that out. All right, so let's see. I want you to see that one, that amazing job by Tulsi Gabbard, just top of the line. In the first administration, President Trump could not bring in people like this. He could not bring in these amazing fighters because they look at all that they did to President Trump, and most people would not have understood. They weren't ready. That's what our job has been as the Freedom Force Battalion and so many other patriots across the country. The 17 told us to go out and share this information and lay the groundwork so that people would start to understand what's been going on. And so now, in his second term, this is where we can actually get this job done. You can tell it's going really, really fast. And we were told it cannot go slow. It cannot go slow because they have to always be on their back foot, and so that's what President Trump is doing. I'm going to show you what some of the other things I think that are going on behind the scene, but I'll get to that. All right, so this one is about RFK Jr. Did you guys see this one? I shared it on the social media. This one is where, shocking that he would be so brazen. RFK did not play, and he was just calling out all these congressmen that they're taking all this money from Big Pharma. Check it out. Oh, goodness, that's way too loud. That's too loud.
America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
And protecting
their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single.
Okay. Before I play this little clip, it's just got a few more seconds, but I want you to notice how every time RFK tries to get the word out of the truth about the money that Bernie Sanders took, immediately he overshouts him. Check this out.
Largest
because I have
pharmaceutical money
from workers all over this country. Workers, not a nickel from corporate tax.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but
that did not go well. That did not go well. You know, that's the problem when they are when the righteous have the ability to speak in the microphone and get the truth out. We put the corrupt ones on their back foot, and that's exactly what RFK did. That was a sight to behold. That was so fun, and that's exactly why they do not want RFK to take this position as Secretary of Health, not just because he's going to stop, yes, he's going to stop that from Big Pharma making all this money, but it's going to expose that they are all controlled by Big Pharma. Oh, goodness, they don't even know what to do. They're at panic in D.C. All right, let's talk about what happened with this terrible tragedy of this airplane going down. And I've shared on the social media. I haven't done a video on it. It's been very, very difficult, and it's been a rough time. You know, we were having such a great time watching President Trump doing all these things, and then this terrible tragedy happened. And I'm not going to show the video of it. I think it's just so tough on our psyche to watch these things over and over, just like they did with 9/11, playing it over and over, and the JFK assassination over and over. You just have these things embedded in your brain. I'm not going to play that, but I wanted you to see what President Trump said. The Black Hawk helicopter was flying too high by a lot. It was far above the 200-foot limit. That's not really too complicated to understand, is it? Now, I don't know if you've ever gone on a helicopter, but the biplanes are, the small little airplanes are at the bottom level. They fly at this level, and then the helicopters are at a higher level, and then of course the jets are at a completely high, much higher level. So of course, when there's takeoff, then of course you've got planes that are in this lower level. Okay, so this is unfortunately the opportunity for someone who is doing something nefarious to hit an airplane when they're either taking off or when they're landing. Okay, so what is President Trump saying here? That's not really too complicated to understand, is it? This helicopter went outside of their normal pattern where they should fly. Okay, so he's been bringing up a lot about the FAA regulations and about diverting everyone's attention over to that, to say they need to have better people in those positions and more staff and all of that. Okay, that's what he's been focusing on, and that they should have made sure that this person was not flying outside of their range, so to speak. All right, so he's talking about that. So he's exposing that they were. I think that what he's saying is this was intentional. Okay. So then what happened next? I want you to see this. I shared this on the social media, and this shows the flight path that it looks like an airplane on here, but it's the helicopter, the Gold Top helicopter, how it took off from Langley, which is the CIA headquarters. It took off, and it had 3 near misses. Did you guys see this? It had 3 near misses before it hit that airplane. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about what I think potentially is happening here. Okay, so I'm going to show you this video first. So notice it takes off from Langley, and it almost hits that plane right there. Again, this plane just took off from JFK. Here's the second near crash. It maybe was too high. Now it's almost hit a third. Do you see this? It almost hit a third. And now it comes down the Potomac toward JFK Airport. And there, obviously, you're going to have planes that are not going, not nearly as high. And so they wind around, go around, move around, and then they see another plane coming. And then that's when the fatal collision happened. It's not easy to hit something that's going that fast. It really is. It's not easy. If you think about that, you're driving on the road. You're on one level plane. one level. And if someone's going fast, if you're going to hit them, you have to go catch up to them and hit them. It's not easy even on one level. But when you think about there's going fast, you've got someone who's raising their altitude quickly, then that makes it even harder to do. Now this is not something that's accidental, and you've seen the flight path. It went straight to the airplane. I mean, straight to it. This was clearly on purpose. There's just no other, in my opinion, that's exactly what it looks like. Okay, so I didn't know if you had seen that, but this was not the first near miss. There were 3 near misses before this fatal crash. All right, I wanted you to see that. Then President Trump says something. He said it was doing the opposite of what it was told. Check this out. This is very interesting language that he says here. Check it out.
Traffic controller said, do you see, he was talking about, do you see him? But there was very little time left when that was stated. And then also he said, follow him in. And then almost immediately after that, seconds after that, there was the crash that took place. Well, you follow him in, that means like everything's fine. Follow him in. You had a pilot problem from the standpoint of the helicopter. I mean, because it was visual. It was a very clear night. It was cold but clear, and clear as you could be. The American Airlines plane had lights blazing. They had all of their landing lights on. I could see it from the Kennedy Center tape. We had a tape up on the Kennedy Center. That seems to be the primary. That's why I'm sure we'll see other tapes, because it's such an area where there are a lot of cameras looking up into the air, into space. So we'll probably see many other shots of it before too much time goes by. But we had a situation where you had a helicopter that had the ability to stop. I have helicopters. You can stop a helicopter very quickly. It had the ability to go up or down. It had the ability to turn. And the turn it made was not the correct turn, obviously. And it did somewhat the opposite of what it was told. We don't know that would have been the difference, because...
Did you catch that? It did the opposite of what it was told. That's a strange way for him to say that. Okay, so I want you to go back and see at the very last minute. Okay, so it was look at the plane, and it's heading, and it turns right into the plane. The helicopter turns right into the airplane. Okay, so but he's saying it was doing the opposite of what it was told. So very odd language. So several things have come to my mind that I thought, well, is it, and you guys can say in the chat what you think is happening, was it remote controlled? I'll show you here in a minute a video of remote controlled planes. I guess I could go ahead and show you that now. That's a possibility. And whether someone was in it or not. Okay? That is a possibility. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that real quick. I'm going to show you that one. Let me see if I can find that one. Let's see. Which one is it? I've got so many videos to show you guys. Okay, that's what's going on there. Okay, where is it? I have so many things to show you. I don't see it. Where did it go? Uh-oh. I think I might have accidentally deleted it. You guys have seen it, that there are helicopters, there are videos, I shared this on the social media, that show that these are like drones. And of course here, what was it, a month ago, we had how many drones flying over these major cities? So clearly that is technology that is available, and these helicopters have that ability to do that, be flown remotely, like a remote control car. So that is a possibility because no one in their right mind would do these 3 near misses and fly straight into an airplane. Nobody in their right mind would do that. So the thought of, being on a plane, what I'm trying to bring up is, point out is that he's saying that the flight controls were not doing what they were told. And the thought of this is too horrifying, that you're in a helicopter and you're trying to control it and it's being controlled by someone else. That's horrible. That the thought of that is horrible. So, I think that behind the scenes, what's going on now, before everyone else, they're talking about the FAA and they're talking about getting the air flight controllers and all this. They're trying to keep everybody calm but behind the scenes, I feel that what they're doing is getting control over who is flying these planes, is there anyone who's remotely controlling these helicopters or planes, and are the people who are flying these planes, are they mentally well? And I'll go ahead and talk about that real quick. This is a thing that just came out. This girl, whose name is Rebecca Loback, she was the female Black Hawk helicopter pilot that reportedly was killed. There were 3 that were killed, reportedly. Again, I'm very suspicious and skeptical of anything that they say, but there are 3 that they say were killed, 2 of whom they have already shared the names, but they just came out with Loback's name. They just came out with this, and I think even the family said that they wanted to purge her social media, and that was the reason for the delay. And so this is what the Gateway Pundit is saying: I want to see her social media that was scrubbed. What would it indicate? Okay. The Facebook page has been wiped. However, her Google images below. Now, I don't know if this is, her sister, her girlfriend. I don't know who this person is. Okay, but there are a lot of people who have mental health problems. I don't know that that's the case here, but I know that there are people who, and I have a friend who has had a problem with mental health, like with the bipolar episodes, where they will have mental breaks. They will break from reality and they are not thinking clearly. I don't know that that's what happened to this girl, and I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just saying that we have to make sure, and I believe this is what President Trump is doing, along with Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, is to make sure that whoever is in command of a helicopter or an airplane or a ship or whatever is someone who has not had a history of this. And I'm not trying to dog on anybody, but the problem is you can't risk it. And the people who I know, this one person I know who's had this problem, recognizes that she cannot be, she doesn't want to have guns or anything, because she is, knows that she might do something rash. She might do something, when she's not, in her right mind. Now, the wonderful news is, and I've shared this with you guys over on freedomforce.live. If you go to freedomforce.live and you look at the links, there's a book about how to heal bipolar without psychotropics and how to do this naturally. And this is what right here on the links, bipolar disorder. I think it's under, let me see what it's called, what the name of it, freedomforce.live/bipolar. And I go into what helped her, and she's not had any more episodes. And a big part of it was that her nerves were damaged. This is a nervous disorder. And the CBD oil, this is why President Trump brought CBD back into our foods and the hemp, because this is what our nerves need, so they'll be healthy, so that they serve the mental and the physical health. Okay, so this is how they're supposed to send the transmission, and if they're not sending the right messages, then no telling what a person might say or do. Anyway, the CBD, serotonin is so good. Anyway, check this out. The amino acids, this was a big problem for her. She was really low on amino acids. This was, it literally, we could see her coming back to reality within 2 days of taking the amino acids. This is the book, really amazing. And it's, we will have our health back, our mental health back. But what if that was what was going on with this person? I don't know. I'm just telling you that's a possibility. That is a possibility. If this person had if she was flying, and if she did have a mental break, and she did this, and I just can't even imagine that there were maybe other people who were in the helicopter who were trying to get control and they could not. I don't know if you guys had thought about that, but that's one of the things that I had thought that possibly had happened. All right, so then. Okay, and another thing that really makes me wonder about this too is that if you look at this video right here, this is Monkey Works. We've been following him for a long, long time, and he's talking about how the Joint Task Force National Capital Region and the U.S. Military District of Washington was crickets about this. They said nothing. It's like, why are they so quiet about this? Normally they put out something immediately about condolences, etc. But they didn't say anything until they got it together. Now since then, now they do have this up on their website. But at first they were not, as if something happened that was outside of that shouldn't have happened. And it was not an accident. That there was something going on, and they had to get their story straight of how they were going to deal with this. And so I believe in the background, these things are being tightened up, and so that this will never, ever happen again. Okay? I have a feeling that President Trump is getting, this is getting tightened up. That's what I think. What do you guys think? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the chat. I'm going to let you hear what Monkey Works had to say.
This is why it's suspect. These are top-notch pilots, right? When you start talking about the Black Hawk and the ones that fly the Pat aircraft, let me just take you, first and foremost, this is the website that is the Joint Task National Capital Regions, U.S. Army Military District of Washington. This is where they operate out of, all right? Now, there is nothing from them in terms of press release. They have not said a word. Why? Typically, you would at least post something. We, hearts and, thoughts go out to the family and prayers, right, etc. There'd be something, even if it was informal as we conduct an investigation, whatever it may be. No press release from them, okay? Zero. Now, this...
Again, now they have. I'll show you this. This is the one right now. You'll see, our deepest condolences go out to all the families and friends impacted by this during this tragedy, and we'll support them through this difficult time. The standard thing. And then they also talk about while performing a training mission, a U.S. Army UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter from Bravo Company, 12th Aviation Battalion, Davison Army Airfield, Fort Belvoir, Virginia, collided midair with an American airliner Bombardier CRJ-700 regional jet flight 5342 last night at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. So they did do it by the next day, but it was not immediate. And that's what he was basically saying, Monkey Works was saying. All right, and it does have this gold top, which is for high-level executives. It came out of Langley. It has the PAT 25 call sign, which is Priority Air Transport. Now, the three that were in there were not any of these high-level executives. So that's strange, right? It says there have been zero press releases. Okay, at that time, there were zero press releases. So anyway, here he's going to talk about the gold top and what that means.
Helicopter is actually what they call the gold top. All right, you can see the gold top right here. This is they are mainly flying, right, high-level military officials and or like congressmen, senators, DOD. Top-level execs. The fact that it came out of Langley, the fact that this would have been a gold top because it was a PAT 25 call sign, they could have been in a regular Black Hawk, but the ones that operate out of this it's called the gold top for a reason, because they are carrying some, and it's why they have the Priority Air Transport call sign, all right? Not just a regular UH-60 or any other military call sign. It's the Priority Air Transport, all right? So this would be what operates out of that location. 0 press releases. Very, very unusual. And again, you can see, just kind of go through, you can see some of the Hilo stuff in here with the H-60s. But
all right. So now, they haven't really talked anymore that I have heard about that. If anyone has any other ideas on that, go ahead and please share them in the chat. But yeah, so that's, maybe they were using this on a training mission, and that's why there wasn't a high-level executive. Either way, it's just a lot of things just seemed very odd the way it was done. All right, so now the thing that President Trump, though, has been focusing his attention on is that the FAA must get high-level people, and it must be based upon merit to have air traffic controllers on merit. So really, it seemed like they were throwing the air traffic controllers under the bus, and maybe they needed to be, because I've heard some clips of where these air traffic controllers don't sound that with it. You need someone who's really with it, someone who's genius level, because this is putting a lot of people's lives at risk if someone doesn't know what they're doing, right? So this is what he's been focusing his attention on, and not focusing on what I was just talking about. But I'm just a lady with a laptop. I can talk about these things and whatever. But he can't say some of these things, so that's why we do. We share this information and go, something doesn't add up about this. And clearly he did say it wasn't doing what the controls were telling it to do. So see, he knew something was fishy, but he doesn't want to alarm people. But behind the scenes, he is getting all that buttoned up. All right, so here's what he says about the signing the executive order to make sure that we have no DEI hires as air traffic controllers.
For your signature, we have a presidential memorandum titled Immediate Assessment of Aviation Safety. In light of the damage done to aviation safety by the Biden administration's DEI and woke policies, what this presidential memorandum orders is for your Secretary of Transportation and FAA administrator, in this case acting FAA administrator, to basically ensure that we are actively undoing all of that damage, that we are assessing how much damage was done, and that we're ensuring that people hired within the FAA, in keeping with your memorandum of January 21st, are only the most outstanding, capable people for the jobs that they're being hired into.
In other words, competence.
Yes, sir. Elevating competence over everything else instead of the DEI policies that were pursued by the Biden administration.
I think everyone understands that. And Obama.
Yes.
Both of them. Okay, but Biden much worse. Not even a contest.
And of course, we know that they were doing this intentionally, doing so many things to harm America. So we already know that. Okay, so here he talks about the chess match. And I think, and you guys tell me what you think in the comments, is this about, yes, it's a chess match to be an air traffic controller. That's the context. But I think he's also talking about this as a chess match that he is playing. Ever since he walked in the door, he's been signing executive orders, taking all these actions, and getting things straightened out. And it's a very high-level strategy chess match that he's playing against the criminal cabal that has controlled Washington, that has controlled all these minions in Washington. And that's one of the big reasons I'm going to show you here in a minute. Like, these 51 top-level minions have been removed. They no longer have their security clearance. They can't even go into these buildings. This is the chess match that's really playing out. Really, I think that's kind of what he's saying. Tell me what you think.
I understand that. That's why I'm trying to figure out how you can come to the conclusion right now that diversity had something to do with this crash.
Because I have common sense, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. We want brilliant people doing this. This is a major chess game at the highest level. When you have 60 planes coming in during a short period of time, and they're all coming in different directions, and you're dealing with very high-level computer work and very complex computers. And one of the other things I will tell you is that the systems that were built, I was going to rebuild the entire system, and then we had an election that didn't turn out the way it should have. But they didn't build the systems properly. They spent a lot of money renovating a system, spending much more money than they would have spent if they bought a new system for air traffic controllers, meaning the computerized systems. There are certain companies that do a very good job. They didn't use those companies. They used companies that should not have been doing it. No, I think it's very important to understand that for some jobs, and not only this, but air traffic controllers, they have to be at the highest level of genius. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, President Trump. He knows this. He's a genius. He knows we need people who know what they're doing. Yeah, so the day of mediocrity is over. I'm so thankful, especially in the air traffic controllers. Yeah, and so did you catch that they could have gotten a whole new system, but of course they said, no, let's renovate our older system. And you know it was a financial boondoggle. You know everybody had their money, their hands in the pockets of all that money. And so it didn't, the money that's supposed to go to update our infrastructure, whether it's the airports and the FAA system and the air traffic control system and the roads and the bridges and all these things, everybody's always had their hands, their grubby little hands in it. And so that's why our country's fallen down around our ears. All right. So then, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you on this. That's the chess match. Oh gosh, you've got to hear that. Okay, here's where he's talking about the commissioner.
Immediately appointing an acting commissioner to the FAA, Christopher Rocheleau, a 22-year veteran of the agency, highly respected.
Now, this is very interesting. He has a new FAA commissioner that he announced that very day. So this is interesting that I guess he was going to do this, and then he went ahead and pushed this up. If anyone has any thoughts on that, I'm really happy to hear that too. This is where the former administration, Biden administration, had nominated this man to be the FAA lead. And he didn't understand anything, not the first thing about being a pilot. He stepped down. He said, "No, I don't think that's the job for me." This is how they've been promoting people. It's based upon, the gimmies, not based upon their intellect or their experience or their knowledge or any of that. This is just absolutely embarrassing. Check this out. Oh no, I don't have the video. I just have a screenshot. Oh well. It's okay. Just imagine that every question that this man asks about being a pilot, he says, "I don't know. I have no idea." Everything. Can you imagine? It's absolutely embarrassing. All right, so I think that's everything I wanted you to see on that. All right. Let's just pray for President Trump. He's up against it, and just pray that this never happens again, and that they get control of anything that could potentially harm, anyone, whether they're in an airplane or anywhere. All right. There it is. I told you I had a video of the helicopters. This is flying autonomously. Check it out.
It's 2022, so let's face it, we're used to seeing all types of vehicles operate themselves. From cars to boats, drones, even motorcycles. But some people might say there's something a little ominous about seeing a military-grade helicopter flying without a pilot. This is part of a project from Lockheed Martin's subsidiary, Sikorsky, and DARPA. Now, if you're not familiar with DARPA, it's a research and development agency for the U.S. Department of Defense. And according to DARPA, this marked the first time a Black Hawk helicopter flew without anyone on board.
There you go. I told you I had it. I knew I had it somewhere. But yeah, that's a little unnerving, really, to think that they could do that. So yeah, just pray. Pray. We're going to pray. All right. So now let's talk about these tariffs. President Trump has been warning that he would tariff Mexico and Canada and China, and he has done it. And everyone is just hair on fire, worried about it. Actually, China and Mexico have vowed to retaliate with their own. The problem is their numbers, they can't compete. We don't need their goods. We can get them from anyone. And, what we get from them is just a little of nothing. It's really not even a fair fight. So, yeah, if anybody thinks that Mexico or China are going to get President Trump to back down, they've got another thing coming. Here's what President Trump posted. Today, I have implemented a tariff of 25% on imports from Mexico and Canada. 10% on Canadian energy, and a 10% additional tariff on China. This was done through the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA, because of the major threat of illegal aliens and deadly drugs killing our citizens, including fentanyl. Now, he has warned and he has talked about it, and he's said this was going to happen. And have they stopped all of this illegal activity? No, they have not. There's too much money that they're making, and they figured he wouldn't do anything, and they figured wrong. We need to protect American citizens, and it is my duty as president to ensure the safety of all. I made a promise on my campaign to stop the flood of illegal aliens and drugs from pouring across our borders, and Americans overwhelmingly voted in favor of it. There you go. It's done, and they are panicking. So we'll see how long it takes for them to change their tune and change their ways. So President Trump is, he plays with the Trump card. He has the power, and he is not afraid to use it. This is fun. Y'all ready to see some winning? Some more winning? Federal employees told to remove pronouns from email signatures by the end of the day. This was on the 31st. What day? That was on Friday. So we don't need to know your pronouns. It sounds like a little thing, but it's not. It's the kind of thing that just is so